What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It is JD from Leterrip Adventures. We are not out riding. Actually, Brian's making fun of me because I'm hurt. I am hurt.
Yeah. I've been making fun of him all day.
Yeah, so back is blown. I'm kind of at a S-shaped type deal.
Let's go!
Now, the best part is what we are going to be doing today. I will be doing underneath the side-by-side, so laying flat on the concrete is actually helping my back a little bit, but putting shoes down, standing straight up and down, no bueno, not good right now. But what actually happened is last time it was tying my shoe, blew my back out. This time I was up helping my old man put a snowplow on his wheeler, and I was nothing more just bending over a little bit, digging through a hardware bin looking for a washer, and my back said, I don't want to do this no more, folded me right over, so I am indeed hurt. So Brian is going to be the guinea pig for today to help me do the heavy lifting because we are actually installing a skid plate on the RZR. Now you ask yourself, why are you doing that? It comes with a skid plate. Anybody in this industry realizes that the factory skid plate, you can see here, it is garbage. It is no good. And what I was kind of showing or explaining to Brian is, he's like, well, why are you doing a skid plate? And I'll crawl underneath here and show you kind of what we're up against. So, shut up, Brian. Yeah. So I gotta roll. I gotta take my time. I can do what I need to do today. Just need to do it different than usual. So let me turn the light on here.
Sorry guys, I'm using for you, I'm using for me.
Yeah.
Just not so much for Jamie.
Oh, okay. So what I'll show you here, guys, is you can see all of these bars or these cross members that go out to your running board here and stuff. All that is exposed, and you can see there is already dents, there's dings, there's smashed up spots. Another issue is a lot of time you start smashing your cross member here that has your carrier bearing, and it's just extremely exposed. So Super ATV skid plate covers all of this. Everything on the sides will be covered. The skid plate will actually come way out to the edge of the machine here. Everything underneath here will be covered, and then once I oh my god, that is so bright. Once I get myself back from out from underneath the machine, here, take this, Brian.
The old man moves.
Yeah, the old man moves. So
Barely.
I will take you inside and show you what we've got for a skid plate here, because now the reason I brought it in the house, because what do you think the temperature is right now outside, Brian? It's like, what, 10 degrees outside, 15? Probably 5 with the wind chill.
Something like that.
It's cold. So we've got our outdoor patio heater is doing what it's doing, but I did not want this skid plate to be brittle from sitting out where it's 10 degrees. And you can see right here is the skid plate. We've got it sitting in the house. Those are the sides. This is the top, bottom, the back. But you can see, look at that bad boy. She is thick. She is thick. So we've got most of the hardware, some other stuff taken care of. We'll get everything outside, get all the tools together, and then we'll show you kind of the process as we start installing the skid plate. So you ask yourself, what am I using? Okay, just for the record, there is no instructions in the Super ATV skid plate. Pretty much you go online, you go to your specific model of the skid plate you ordered and go on their website, and as you can see here, it actually does have a install, which it's pretty straightforward for the most part. They want you to actually, as you can see, tip the machine on its side. I don't have the ability to get it down. I could probably get it down, but getting it back up is not gonna happen. But they do provide all your hardware. They do recommend if you go up, right, where'd it go? Right here. Before installing self-tapping hardware, pre-drill the holes with a 5/32. That is one of the big things that guys say when you install these Super ATV things, that the self-tapping screws, you're trying to tap into a tubular frame, and it can become a pain in the butt. So we're going to use a punch, a drill. I've got several drill bits because guys say you go through about 5 of them by the time you're all said and done. But it's pretty much just put the puzzle together. Put the puzzle together, start getting all the hardware, but I'll go up to the top picture and look at that right there. You can see that is a lot of freaking hardware that we have to drill out, tap, and get this thing installed. So we are just gonna get after it here. We'll get this first piece up. If I run into anything that's extremely crazy, I'll let you know, but I'm really excited to be able to get a skid plate on this machine that I don't have to worry about tearing up cross members and just be able to worm its way through the woods even better than it already does. So I am going to manipulate and roll my old ass down onto the ground down here and start installing the skid plate. All right, guys, everything you can see so far as far as the rear piece of skid plate, all of these holes were already drilled as far as having locations for them. You run them in with the self-tappers. First two that we have to actually drill are right here. I used punch, hammer, and then they do provide you with a drill bit to drill this out. We'll see how long this one lasts, but surprisingly it's actually pretty sharp, pretty decent so far. And yes, I'm wearing safety squints. Do not need metal shavings in my eyeballs. All right, pre-tapped. And then you run in any hardware. Make sure that you leave this loose because you will have to adjust it as you put this together. But so far it's going pretty good. So we'll shut this down and get these mounted and move on to the next section. Good morning, ladies and gents. It is the next day. So we worked on the skid plate a bunch last night. Didn't record a whole lot of it. You kind of seen where we left off on the last clip that we were working on the rear big section. It is just me, myself, so you'll have to be patient. But let's come under here. I'll show you what we got so far. As you can see, we've got the full skid plate all the way to the front and then all the way to the back. She's about ready to rock. We do have the side piece on here. Let me turn the light on. I do got the side piece on. You can see that. I really like how this, you know, where your trailing arm connects to the frame assembly of your machine. It's kind of nice that you're going to slide over this. It does require that you use some of the OEM hardware, which brings me to one of my concerns that I will show you here in a little bit. But yes, really like how it's coming out. And then let me get back out here. Oh, okay. I'm out. And then, as you can see, as far as the sides are concerned, how far out this actually comes to the edge of the machine. You can see that's, you know, you're going to be hitting this skid plate and stuff before you're actually hitting the side of your machine. So also another feature, another cool little thing here is they give you this steel plate that gets installed right there. That kind of protects that hole. Otherwise, this skid plate is just, it's an empty cavity back there. Then I could see where you could start collecting stuff or sticks or whatever the case is. So they do have that steel plate there. Let's come around to the front. Now there is a couple things you'll have to do, and all the stuff is in the instructions, so it's not a big deal. But you have this steel plate here. As you can see that, you do have to take your front fascia piece off of here, get that out of the way. You will have to take out a couple of these 15 mil bolts and then reinstall them. Now, per instructions, they've got small little bitty bolts here, but I feel that is more than enough to hold that steel plate in place where it needs to be because of the mounting bracket. And then, as you can see, wraps around all down along the bottom. Got a couple pieces of hardware and stuff to finish up down here. But as you can see, that is a full skid plate. So one of the concerns I had, whoa, that light is something else. Okay. Now, if we come over here, they did not send enough of the 1.5" self-tappers because the whole side of this is all 1.5", and I do not have enough to finish it. So what I think I'm going to do, and I looked through the instructions several times that Super ATV provides, and it doesn't say anything about reusing any of the OEM hardware, or if you're supposed to, where they indicate. They indicated a couple spots. But other than that, what I think I'm going to do is swap out some of those self-tappers, those longer ones down the center of the machine, and reinstall some of the OEM factory. That way I don't have to go buy any freaking hardware. Because when you spend, you know, I got it on sale, I think it was like $6 something, but normally they're like $790 for a skid plate. I think the least they could do is send you enough hardware. Let me turn this heater down so it stops making funny noises. Oh, if it wasn't for the heater, I wouldn't be able to do this. It is freaking cold today in Wisconsin. It said, well, here's fall, and it's like, boom, here's winter. Next week they're talking low teens, lows in the single digits at night. So winter is definitely here. So either way, we've got to swap out some of these, drill some more holes, do some other stuff. But as you can see, it's kind of a mess here, but the hardware pile is definitely getting smaller. So I'm going to swap out some of this hardware real quick, and then we'll get started on the other side. Show you the finished product when we're all said and done. Okay, as you can see, this is where we're currently at. Back is done, front's done. Swapped out some of the old hardware for the 1.5" self-tappers, but we have to do the outside edge next. Now, I didn't show you this side, I can finally kind of show you. So once you get your centers all installed, then you have to install this steel plate. The steel plate is what actually attaches your center to your outer here. Now, I left my skid plate, that part of it, inside overnight because you do have to flex and bend that. And with it being 10 degrees outside, I don't want to break it because there is quite a bit of stress in that little area right there where your trailing arm goes out, because you do actually cover this up. Now, this hole and the one after that are the two where you use OEM hardware. Otherwise, everything else is Super ATV provided. But steel plate goes in here, and you can see you got a couple of these clip fasteners. Those are actually 5mm bolts that go, 5mm bolts that go in there. And then there's a couple down there. So I was able to hold that up by myself and get these started, and then you can work your way through the rest of it. But you can see part of the reason why I'm doing the skid plate, there's a big dent here and a nasty scratch right there. This one's getting pretty banged up because with the OEM one, like I said, this entire side of your machine is exposed. Now I can see cleaning skid plate, your floor plug is right there. That stuff's all gonna be hidden under there. A little more difficult to clean, but you can't see that anyway. So I'll get this other section of skid plate hung up here, start nailing in some hardware, and this thing is just about done. Just about done. One more time, just about done. All right, guys, I am done. It is 2 days later. Haha, started it yesterday, finished it up today. Now, if I was in good health and my back wasn't wounded, which as you can see, a wounded guy that can barely like stand up straight was able to put the skid plate on. I did get a little help from a couple people as far as handing me hardware once I was under the machine. Which kind of brings you to the fact, how do you get under the machine to do a skid plate? First off, it's not that bad. What I did, as you can see, guys, I just put it up on 4 jack stands or wheel ramps, got it up high enough to be able to get underneath the machine, to be able to do all the drilling and all that stuff that I needed to, so it wasn't so bad. They recommend that you actually tip it on their side. Now, by they, I mean Super ATV. That is the skid plate I did indeed go with. If you buy it straight up with no sales, no nothing, it's close to $800 for a full skid plate. A lot of money, but I feel the install was pretty straightforward, and it does fit very well, which I'll show you there in a second. So I've also seen they recommend that you tip it up on its side. You've got also, I've seen people, well, they will winch it to a lower branch, say in a tree, to get the machine up far enough to be able to get the skid plate indeed installed. Didn't feel comfortable crawling underneath the machine held up by a friggin' rope. So you ask yourself, well, what do I need to put a skid plate in? That's it. That's all the tools. And just for the record, this is the drill bit that came with the Super ATV set. I was able to utilize this entire bit to do that entire thing. So I heard horror stories, you need 5-6 bits. Take your time. I used these tools. I used 2 of my impacts, 1 for a drill, and then 1 just for a 1/4 inch driver, and I had no problems. Took my time running the self-tapping screws and stuff in. Everything went great. Now, I don't know if it's something missing in the instructions, and from the instructions, I mean, I went on to the website, utilized their instruction manual. I tried finding some spots where I thought I should have had enough self-tapping screws according to their instructions, and I do not think they sent me any, which is fine. That's all right. Because what I did, as you can see, this is a miscellaneous hardware you'll have left over, depending on whether or not you have a bumper and some other stuff. But that's all I have left of the washers. I did swap out some of the self-tapping screws with the OEM bolts and made everything work like it was supposed to. Can't really tell the difference. I figure if they held the old one on, there's no reason it shouldn't hold the new one on. But let's crawl under this bad boy. Okay, as you can see, guys, it is actually a really nice fit. I could see where there is going to be possibly one disadvantage, and I've heard about this before. You can see right here where there's this square lip. So not so bad when you're going, you know, say over something this direction, but when you back up, I could see where that could get caught up. So I may take and cut that at an angle this summer when it's a little easier to prevent issues when you're backing off of something. But wraps around, protects all this, and you can see right here, you can see it actually comes up past the edge of the machine. So it's gonna hit that before it actually hits your running boards on your machine. But we'll take you, as you can see, front's all solid. You know, seams match up pretty well as far as that's concerned. This one's a little tighter than this side, but that is one of those things that if you do decide to do a skid plate, that you should probably put it on before you start banging it through the rocks. Backing up too, I could see here possibly, now this is towards the front of the machine, that these possibly getting hung up on something if you're backing up, but I don't see it as that big of a deal. We'll come up here, you can see they got the steel plate here, and then they got the steel plate up on the other side there. But when I'm under here, I wanted to show you guys something. All right, don't mind my hack job, paint job here, but if you ever put aftermarket A-arms, like the Super ATV ones, if it has this cross member, I remembered on the other machine, but I forgot on this one, take out your bolt for your lower sway bar, and I know a lot of guys just remove them, get them out of there. If you choose to leave it, if you do a lot of fast trail riding, take the nut and the bolt, spin it around, because originally this nut was on this side, and you can see how much further this sticks out, starts hitting that, and it will take the paint and actually start wearing a groove in the tubing, which is going to make it weaker, and sometime it might fold. But yep, check it out, guys. Full skid, should be able to slither the worm over just about everything. So let me get back out. A lot less editing in this one because I'm just into something. So that's one add-on we've now got for the worm. Got the full skid plate, got the high-rise Super ATV A-arms. We're going to be working on radius rods, trailing arms in the future, but the next step is indeed the cage. That has been ordered. It's en route. Got it from Cageworks, one of the ones that is laser cut tubing that you have to indeed build yourself. Let me know in the comments if you've made it this far. Appreciate it. But in the comments, let me know. What I'm thinking about doing is accenting the cage with red and then doing my panels in black where you can see the tubing through the top of the panels on the roof, and then I'm going to do the red and black sea decking. That is kind of my thoughts, because I think it would really bring this machine to life as far as adding some extra color, because we do have the red accents in the springs. Turn it up. As you can see in the springs, we also have we threw this on. Now, nothing wrong with the RPM. There is nothing wrong with this exhaust. I had no problem with it. Sounded great, performed great. Didn't have a problem. Just wanted to switch it up with something else because both of these guys are a sponsor of the channel. So I want to represent both of the product and the Bikeman. That is the benefit of the Bikeman. You know, you ask yourself, well, what's the difference? Nothing performance-wise is really different between these. It's the bells and the whistles that come along with the, you know, the RPM that you don't necessarily get as far as the shielding and the extra hoopla. They go for the performance, get rid of some of the hoopla to make it more affordable. But what we plan on doing as far as the color scheme and stuff is concerned, we think that accents more along the lines of what we're trying to do. So we got a shorty cage coming. It is going to be a Baja spec flat top. It is going to have the black panels where you can see the red tubing, and then it's going to have the sea decking on the inside. Then we are going to go to the trailing arms and to the radius rods. Just try and make the worm a little turd. So make it a little bulletproof. Just over the top of stuff, through stuff, around stuff, with product that is affordable to build the machine, that if you do decide to bang it up, twist it up, you still get a decent warranty. But I am building this machine on what I consider being a poor man's budget. With that being said, guys, don't forget, support the supporters that support us. If you want, I do have discount codes for RPM, Bikeman Performance, LOYO Lights, GLife UTV, and don't forget about Routa Powerline. Don't have a discount for that last one, but they do have some really good product that they sent us to get the Scrambler up to where it is. So if you support them, it supports us. We can continue to run what we feel to be good performing parts at an affordable price to make a machine pretty freaking strong to the point where you can beat on a little bit and not have to worry about tearing it up. Now, from the safety side of things, cage, that'll be next. But like I said, guys, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe, hit that thumbs up, hit that notification bell if you want to see content when we post. And like always, thanks, guys, and on to the next adventure.